As long as systemic racism exists, as long as there is this threat of fascist violence, which has increased during the Trump administration, we are going to see violence coming from the other side. I mean, in Charlottesville, what we saw were police standing on the sidelines as fascists and neo-Nazis began beating on clergy. And so you had groups like the Antifa coming to the defense and fighting. Now, the clergy had already done nonviolence training and had committed to that. But I think that it's unreasonable to think that everyone is going to commit to a philosophy of nonviolence.
America is a place where all things are possible.
I would argue that the election of the nation's first Black president, followed by the election of a white nationalist, is possibly the most significant domestic event since the Civil War.
They're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
If you look back at the 1860s, we had this period following the Civil War where we had Reconstruction, and this was supposed to be the nation coming back together. That quickly fell apart, and there was a racist backlash. That's when we had the growth of the Ku Klux Klan, and that's when lynching was at its peak. I think if we observe today, it's a kind of a similar period. We had a kind of second Reconstruction following the Civil Rights Movement, and we had great achievements and gains, that resulted in things like the election of the first Black president. But we're also now seeing a similar racist backlash in the election of Donald Trump. We have to remember, Donald Trump's campaign stood out from everyone else because it had such overtly racist overtones. So the events that happened in Charlottesville, they didn't come out of nowhere. This is like a peak moment that we've had several moments prior to this that have kind of built to this moment of boiling over. Violence begets violence. That is an absolutism. And the only way to end this cycle of violence is with nonviolence. The commitment to that is not simply about nonviolence as a tactic, but as a goal. How do we reach a point of having a beloved community that values the inherent worth of every human being, regardless of race, religion, creed, color, sexuality, gender, identity? And oppression is a form of violence. Poverty is a form of violence. Obviously, police brutality, state violence, these are all forms of physical violence. But nonviolence is a commitment to ending violence in all its forms.